Hi everyone, this is Amateur Gamer. I'm starting a new series with Pokemon Gold where I use a single Pokemon to beat the Elite Four to become the champion. I played a lot of Pokemon Gold and Silver when I was a kid, so this is going to bring back a lot of nostalgia for me. Note that I'm not a great player and the first couple of runs will be terrible. The hope is that I will get better eventually and can actually compare the times needed for the Pokemon to get through the Elite Four and Lance. And now the rules. Only the Pokemon selected can be used in battle, and during battle, no items except for held items are allowed. No glitches or exploits. The only cheat used will be replacing the starter with a selected Pokemon, and I can use ancient slaves outside of battle. As many of you have figured out, this will be a solo Bulbasaur run. Let's look at the moves available to Bulbasaur then. In Gen 2, he has a rather bland move pool from leveling up. Tackle is his only normal attacking move. He has some status moves, but no stun spore for whatever reason. Razor Leaf will be the most relied upon move, and it has 95% accuracy. Bulbasaur has Leech Seed and Synthesis for healing. The strongest move is Solar Beam, and that takes too long to set up and use. I originally thought that the TMs will help diversify things, but I was horribly wrong. Bulbasaur has no stab poison move. His only poison move is Toxic. And Bulbasaur doesn't have the bulk Venusaur Bolts. Other non-attacking, non-stab moves worth mentioning are, or is Return. We have more coverage with Must Slap and Fury Cutter, moves that have 20 and 10 power respectively. I know Fury Cutter gets stronger, but it's certainly not something I get specifically. After taking a look at all the moves Bulbasaur can learn, I think this is going to be a very difficult run. I won't be surprised if this takes a long time with a lot of luck involved. And now we'll move on to the gameplay. So first, I'll be facing off against my rival. So naturally, I want my rival to pick Cyndaquil, because fire type is good against grass type. And do note that since this is the first time I've used these hacks, my Bulbasaur is called Chikorita. Yeah, no. Get used to that. Yeah, during my stream when I was doing this, I sometimes call it Chikorita just because it's funny. But yeah, this was a lot closer than I would have liked. But hey, we managed to get a level. And then, yeah, that's good. And next, I arrive at the first gym. I have already done the Sprout Tower because I felt like I needed some levels. This is a flying gym. And this first battle confirmed my fears. The fact that I was fighting this single Spearow and I'm already down to 18 HP. This made me worry because I have to fight a Pidgey and a Pidgeotto with the Falconer. And then I face Falconer. I'm not sure what's going to happen. This is my first try, so we'll see how things goes. So the trainer that I need to fight before Falconer showed me that level 7 Pidgeys don't have Gust, so that is a good thing. And the fact that this Pidgey used 2 tackles instead of using Must Slap is great because accuracy drops would be terrible for me. So right now, with Pidgeotto, my strategy is to use Leech Seed to suddenly take away health from it, use Growl to weaken its Gust, and I'm like, let's try it and see what happens. And to my surprise, it actually worked out. I've never used Growl in the past, but these kind of battles kind of force you to do it. And it worked out, right? Weakening their attack, so Leech Seed heals just enough. I went for a gamble here when I went for Tackle. I'm not sure if that's a good idea, but it kind of paid off, that gamble. Otherwise, I feel like just using Growl and Leech Seed until I lower Pidgeotto's attack might just be enough. I'm not sure. It would have been close. Maybe I needed to get one more level to have just a bit more health to work with. Anyways, I decided to replace Growl. Growl has done its job. I don't think it's gonna work out enough, so I'm gonna replace it with Poison Powder. I decided not to take Sleep Powder because I felt like it might not work. I'm not sure. Maybe in the future it would have proved useful. Before the time when I was picking this, I didn't get it. Stun Spore would have been an option, but I don't get Sunspore on Bulbasaur for whatever reason, so I didn't get it. Before I fight Bugsy, I will have to deal with the Team Rockets in the Slowpoke well. It wasn't that bad. I mean, honestly, this is where Bulbasaur is more superior than Chikorita because Bulbasaur can't get poisoned. While Smog is neutral damage, it's, what, 20 power? So it's hardly a threat, and it's just kind of a formality at this point. Use Leech Seed, use Tackle, Coffin goes down. The Slowpokes are saved. Hurrah. Now we can move on to Bugsy. And now we'll move on to Bugsy. Now Scyther is naturally the biggest worry because Fury Cutter, while neutral, if Scyther gets a couple of hits in, it's gonna hurt a lot. And while Metapod and Kakuna don't pose any threats, the problem is that their tackle actually does quite a bit of damage. Their String Shot doesn't really matter because I don't think Bulbasaur can outspeed Scyther for quite a couple of levels. So String Shot doesn't do anything, Harden doesn't do anything. That's honestly the best case scenario. Poison Sting doesn't do much. It's mostly the Metapod tackle, which lowers my Bulbasaur's health enough that Fury Cutter only needs maybe 3 hits to finish off. My plan was to use Leech Seed and Poison Powder to wither away Scyther while also healing myself, but part of the problem is Fury Cutter scales so much quicker than I can damage Scyther, and as a result I can't keep up with it, and Scyther wins this round, but I'll think of something. So Scyther won the first round, but I decided to give it another try because I feel like I could win it. So the plan this time is the same with Metapod. Tackle versus tackle. That crit helps because it means 1 fewer tackle from Metapod and more health going into the battle with Scyther. So unlike the earlier battle, I decided to use Leech Seed on Kakuna so I could get some health back. The idea is that the more health I have, the better my position is in dealing with Kakuna. And for whatever reason, instead of leeching off more health, or as much health as I can, I decided to use Tackle, which actually makes Kakuna faint sooner, so I wasn't able to get to full health. I don't know why I did that. I should have probably used Leech Seed and then Poison Powder, and then just wait until I get as much health. 43 is not bad. And that crit really made me worry. I'm like, ugh, is all the work going to not pay off? So I still use the same strategy, Leech Seed, Poison Powder, and then I decided to use Razor Leaf because I actually gave my Bulbasaur Miracle Seed, which improves his grass type moves, and it actually pays off. So it's nice for it to pay off, but yeah, it was just a slight change of strategy there. Now we get to the rival fight just before I entered the Ilex Forest. So this one is tricky because Ghastly, if he puts me to sleep, it really complicates matters. While sleep isn't as OP in Gen 2 as Gen 1, it's still very annoying. But we did take out Ghastly with full health, which was amazing. Quilava comes in. I'm like, Quilava has Ember and Quilava is faster, both of which are actually a bad combination. I decided to go for a similar strategy as fighting Scyther, but then I get burned, which is extremely bad because that means that all the healing I get from Leech Seed doesn't really apply here because I think the burn actually either does similar or more damage. So at this point I'm like, okay, let's try again. So the second time, Ghastly used Spite, which is actually pretty bad for Leech Seed that only has 10 power points. But we were able to get through Ghastly once again without losing any health. That's quite fortunate. Then we have Quilava, and Quilava tried to use Smokescreen, that jerk. But yeah, this time I decided to use Razor Leaf to just see how much damage. And honestly, it's not bad. Yes, that was a crit, but honestly, the damage wasn't that terrible. And I believe Razor Leaf has higher accuracy than Tackle, so that's actually kind of sad. But yeah, we beat Quilava, then we have Zubat. Zubat can screw me up by confusing me. Luckily, Supersonic missed, and I was able to get Leech Seed. I don't know why I went for Razor Leaf. Honestly, it's like 4-time not effective against Zubat. But thankfully, Zubat wasn't able to confuse me, and I was able to win this battle. And then we move on to Whitney. Now, the good thing about Whitney is that these battles are very quick. Either you win or she wins. And unfortunately, for at least a couple of attempts, she wins. The plan was Leech Seed, Poison Powder, but Miltank just seems to get it going faster than Scyther. So that is extremely bad. I was hoping to use Headbutt to make her flinch, but the fact that Miltank is faster doesn't help. So Clefairy is also interesting because Metronome could do a bunch of things, and like the Scyther fight, any HP I don't have decreases my chance of surviving against Miltank. So this time I decided to, you know what, let's use Razor Leaf, and it worked out. With Whitney defeated, I decided to try fighting Morty, but the fact that I have no super effective move other than Must Slap meant fighting Ghost type was a problem, and if even Ghastly uses Curse, I'm kind of screwed because Morty has enough Pokemon to outlast me, and if they put me to sleep, it's definitely over. So at this point, I'm like, I need a different plan. And by different plan, I mean going to Olivine City, go to the Lighthouse, fight all the trainers there, get my Bulbasaur to level 35, and then come back to the Burn Tower to first fight my rival. And this battle really showcases the issue, where if I allow them to get Curse, my Bulbasaur just doesn't have the ability to last very long. So, despite how close it was, I mean, it was kind of close. I mean, we almost beat Magnemite, but then we have the Curse and Sonic Boom, and it's gone. I know that I could beat him, I just maybe require a bit more luck, and somehow I got a critical hit on my Razor Leaf, and it took out Hunter, which made the rest of the battle much easier because I don't have to worry about the Curse inflicting its frustrating damage every turn. And luck is coming through because of all of these crits, despite being burned. I mean, at least burn takes less damage, and since I'm using a special attack and Magnemite is missing Sonic Boom, that helps a lot. And you also don't get burned when you feint the other Pokemon. So at this point, I'm using Headbutt. I'm like, ugh, the burn is gonna weaken it, but thankfully it flinches. And that's it for my rival. So now I can deal with Morty. Fighting Morty still wasn't easy, but I was eventually able to do it. I still rely heavily on Razor Leaf because Bulbasaur has decent special attack, especially at level 36. So I was able to inflict quite a bit of damage. And whenever I get crits, like here against this Haunter, it helps tremendously. And with Gengar, Gengar is difficult. Gengar is faster, so I needed to go Mean Look, which it did do this time. And then I need to hit at least one Must Slap. The idea is that if Gengar can't hit with Hypnosis, it can't use Dream Eater, and Dream Eater just wrecks Bulbasaur because it's super effective. And by whittling away at it with Must Slap and Leech Seed, I was able to beat Gengar, and I'm at full health, which was amazing. So now I just have to beat Haunter, and I decided to try a Must Slap, and it went pretty well. And Haunter went Mean Look. So finally beat Morty. It took a while, but finally made it work, and now I can actually move on to other parts of the map. So Chuck was the next leader I had to fight, and that fight went pretty straightforward. With my high levels, my special stat is pretty decent, so Razor Leaf does pretty good damage even without crits. And the fact that Poliwrath is a water type means that Poliwrath is going to have a rough time. I'm not sure if that Dynamic Punch would have finished off Bulbasaur, and I probably don't want to find out. So we got this, and then next we face Jasmine, and this battle is slightly tougher because I wasn't quite sure how to fight it. So dealing with Magnemite was pretty straightforward, must slap, but against Steelix, because of his defense, man, I couldn't do anything. I was hoping to use must slap to make it miss more, and then I actually replaced Leech Seed with Synthesis so I could have a quicker heal than something that takes longer. So I decided to try something new. And I actually realized that I do need crits for Mudslap to finish out Magnemite. But at this point, Steelix is the bigger issue. And dealing with Steelix, I just decided to try a Razor Leaf. And that was a healthy dose of damage. And I'm like, well, all or nothing, let's try it. Steelix misses the Iron Tail. She uses Hyper Potion. I got a crit. And I was able to knock it out. And because I have Synthesis, it means that I can heal Bulbasaur the next turn just to play it safe. Magnemite tried to paralyze me, how dare you. But luckily it missed everything else and I was able to beat Jasmine. Yeah, compared to Morty, Chuck and Jasmine were much more straightforward. And even Price, who I was worried, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do against Ice types. Razor Leaf. See us down. And then I use Razor Leaf against Dugong, thinking it's probably going to survive with a decent amount of health. And it's not that much. And Aurora Beam, attack failed, doesn't really matter. I use Headbutt because at least it has a 100% chance of hitting. Now, Pilot Swine, this is going to be bad. But I got a crit just where I need it, and there, 3 gym leaders gone. With Price beaten, now we have to deal with the Team Rockets in Goldenrod City. And my first worry was the executive where you get the key to the basement, because he has 4 coffins and 1 wheezing. And they all know self-destruct. Wheezing knows explosion. Wait, is that 4 or 5? Anyways, he has a lot of explosives. And now he got Smokescreen, which really sucks because now it's a lot of RNG required. So Bulbasaur went ahead, headbutted the first 3 coffin, but honestly at this point, Wheezing could just end it because Wheezing could do sufficient damage to really be a pain, and I can't believe I missed that must slap, and I'm like, okay, so I need to keep must slapping away. And he went explosion, and I got so lucky that the explosion missed. And rest of it was straightforward, just headbutt, hoping for flinches. If not, ideally coffin, don't go self-destruct and deal damage. I mean, it's just their numbers and the fact that all of them can self-destruct or explode that made this battle difficult. I was quite worried, but when the explosion missed, everything went better. And then once I get to the basement, I get to fight my rival again. And as expected, Golbat, well, I was expecting Golbat to be a problem, but the fact that I made a flinch helped a lot. And the Quilava, now that I have Headbutt, it's actually an amazing move. It's helping me. Because of my high level, I'm level 46 compared to my rivals like low 30s. Magnemite, a must slap. I can't believe I didn't finish it off. That paralysis got me very worried because I'm like, knowing my luck, I'm going to get a lot of fully paralyzed and my Bulbasaur won't be able to do much. And of course, there's a Hunter. It went Mean Look. I went Must Slap. And it went Shadow Ball. And here I'm like, oh, here we go. We have this paralysis happening. And I don't have much health left. And the last Pokemon is Sneasel. I was like, Sneasel is dark and ice. What if it uses ice attacks? And then I remember, I'm like, Sneasel doesn't know any ice attacks. So I was able to beat my rival. I was able to beat the rest of the Team Rockets down there. And then I was expecting the final executive to be the problem, but this guy actually gave me a ton of problem. His Golbat is level 36. So what that means, I don't know why I used Razor Leaf, like that's not going to do much damage. But the fact that Golbat is level 36 means that the Golbat is actually faster than my Bulbasaur. So I decided to change things up. Rely a bit more on RNG. I decided to give Bulbasaur Quick Claw. So the idea is that if it could trigger, then I'll be able to hit first. Like, I need 3 hits. So I just needed to trigger once for one of those 3 because Golbat also requires... So, like, crits will change everything, but in a battle, like right there, where Quick Claw activates, I was able to beat that executive with 9 HP. And I was like, okay, I got past that executive. Now this battle is going to be much tougher, right? Not quite. It's actually much more straightforward. Yes, there's Coffin, there's Houndoom. But there's one thing about Houndoom that I didn't realize that made it a lot easier. This Houndoom, I don't think it knows Flamethrower. So because of that, it's actually not as dangerous. Ember, it does damage, but I mean, I got a crit headbutt, so there goes the Team Rockets. To say I was worried about the Blackthorn City Gym was an understatement. And my worries were confirmed when I fought the very first trainer when I get into the gym. So this guy has 3 Dratinis, and I can't finish them off. They could paralyze, they have Dragon Rage. I can't even beat 3 Dratinis. How am I gonna beat 3 Dragonairs and a Kingdra? Yeah, that really made me puzzled. So, and then I decided to grind a little to get to level 50, and that more or less allowed me to one-shot these Dratinis, but I'm still in the situation where I'm like, how am I going to beat 3 Dragonairs and a Kingdra, right? It looked bad, so rest of the gym wasn't as bad, but yeah, like, this is very worrying. I definitely need a strategy. So this is my first battle. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go Headbutt, and Dragonair paralyzed me, and at that point it might as well be GG, because the fact that I don't have my speed, which being this high level is one of my biggest strengths, and them having Ice Beam and being fully paralyzed, yeah, things weren't going well. So I'm like, okay, so that paralysis matters a lot. So I decided to try again, and this time I was thinking, okay, what can I do to prevent it? So I decided to let my Bulbasaur hold the Paralysis Cure Berry. So whenever it gets paralyzed, it can activate it. And at the very least, for that first Dragonair, I'm able to avoid paralysis. The second one, I got lucky and missed. So this allows me to face the third one. Of course, all of them have Thunder Waves, because why not, right? Why not make it a pain? So right now I have 113 health. My Bulbasaur is paralyzed. I'm facing a Kingdra. Its Surf wasn't doing much. My Razor Leaf is okay, and then it uses Smoke Screen, so this looks pretty bad. And I'm like, okay, use Hyper Beam. I survived that, but thankfully Razor Leaf knocks it out, and I somehow beat the Dragon Gym Leader. Having beat Claire, I was able to go to Kanto, and at the end of Victory Road, have to fight my rival, who, I will admit, I'm not sure how things will go out. I'm at a pretty high level, 54, but, I mean, last time I had a Golbat that screwed me up, but here, I made the Golbat flinch, so that's pretty good. And then we have a Kadabra, and from all the time I played, it seems like the Kadabra always uses Future Sight first turn, and Future Sight hurts because it's super effective, and it's also extremely fast, so I feel like I need to be a very high level to outspeed it. And here I decided to go for Mud Slap because I don't think that Razor Leaf can do very much. And right now the fact that Typhlosion is actually faster is a problem, because Headbutt won't achieve the flinching if you go second. So here I'm having some issues with Typhlosion, but the fact that I can heal and it can't was a huge bonus. I decided to use the opportunity of Magneton showing up to heal up, and then use Must Slap, and of course, it gets frustrating after a while when you constantly see the enemy using Thunder Wave. You're like, why? Why must you do this to me? So overall, this fight has been mostly straightforward. Especially when Ghost type use Mean Look. I mean, it's the last Pokemon, so even a Curse wouldn't matter. I mean, a Curse will actually speed things up. Anyways, now we get to the Elite Four. I decided to see how well I fare, and it doesn't go well. At level 54, I struggle against even Will, the first gym leader. I actually got confused. I thought it was like Pokemon Red and Blue, and it's water and ice types. No, it's Psychics type, and they wreck Bulbasaur. So I was like, okay, this is not going to work out. I'm going to grind a bit, get my Bulbasaur up to level 65, and here when I use Return, yes, I got Return because I need something that has more hitting power. I can't always rely on Flinch. Like, if I can make the Pokemon faint, like the Xatu and the Jinx, it's probably going to help me a lot more. Here, the Xatu survives. It uses Psychic. I actually took it pretty well, and I believe that's just partially because Bulbasaur has decent special defense. It's not quite Venusaur bulky, but it's still decent overall. And then we have the Executor, who uses Leech Seed. I don't even know if Leech Seed works on Grass type. I'm actually not sure. I don't think it does. But this is also Gen 2, so I'm not sure if certain mechanics have already been implemented. Slowbro was straightforward. Hit a Razor Leaf, it will most likely fail. Koga is fine except for one of his Pokemon, Fortress. I have nothing against Fortress. I have nothing that's super against it. It's so bulky, it can just take up a lot of my damage. Even I can't even use Toxic because it's Steel type, so Fortress is a big problem. Crobat can be annoying because it has double team, it has wing attack, and it's fast. But overall, Crobat is still fairly easy to deal with. Fortress is dangerous in that either I need to make its explosion miss, because I don't think I could survive an explosion from Fortress, or as you can see in this current battle in a moment, the AI decide to not use explosion, right? So there is definitely quite a bit of RNG involved with Fortress. I don't know how to mitigate it other than make it miss and let it use explosion and make itself faint. Like here, I didn't use it at all, and I was so relieved. And yeah, the last Pokemon, Muck, it's pretty straightforward. Honestly, at this point, Return is helping so much, and of course it uses Minimize, but yeah, got through Koga. So even I think I will need to be a very high level in order to survive Fortress, but I feel like I don't have the time to grind that much. And now Bruno is straightforward. The only two Pokemon that pose any threat is Hitmontop and Machamp. Hitmontop gets one dig off, and then I will be able to finish it off with Must Slap. Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan both go down after one return, so they were never a problem. Razor Leaf take cares of Onix. Machamp can be a problem, but the fact that Bulbasaur is a poison type, has reasonable defense, means that if it uses a fighting moves, it's not super effective, and Rock Slide does okay, but it's not quite there. And then as you can see, Bruno is pretty straightforward. So at this point, I could reliably get through Will and get through Bruno. Koga is a bit of a problem with his Fortress. And then we have Umbreon, who uses one of the most OP moves ever, Sand Attack. When Sand Attack hits, that usually spells trouble. So fighting her is a lot of RNG. I mean, initially not being able to make Houndoom faint was also a problem, because being able to take it out means that I don't have to suffer its flamethrower, which helps a ton. And see, there's the Sand Attack being just OP. However, against Karen, it is possible to beat her. For instance, if Sand Attack misses, that helps tremendously, like right there. And note that this is just a second attempt. But after this, spoiler alert, I do have to grind a bit to level up. So against Karen, it's a bit less RNG. Actually, it and both the Fortress for Koga are both pretty RNG heavy. It's just Sand Attack can be devastating, or you might not even notice it. But yeah, like Vileplume is great because I can actually just heal up from fighting Vileplume, unless I think Vileplume no stun spore. So if it actually paralyzes Bulbasaur, then we do have a bit of a problem. And here it hurts itself, so we're able to... I mean, Gengar can be a problem, but see, that's the thing. Like, ghost types aren't as dangerous as they were when I was fighting Morty. So there is Lick, there is paralysis, but I was able to get through that. I mean, it was dangerous. It did use Curse, but luckily there was only one Pokemon left after this. And yeah, Bulbasaur is not a bad Pokemon, other than the fact that its moves are very limited, and I find that it hurts, okay? It's a very limiting factor. So now I take on the champion Lance, and I wanted to see how Bulbasaur fares when he's level 67. And with Gyarados, for all the attempts I did a couple of attempts. Gyarados always went for Rain Dance for whatever reason. So yeah, at this point, this is actually the best attempt I went for, and honestly, so many things went well, like Thunder Wave missed, which allowed me to knock out the Dragonite. And then after that, I will have to face the Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl is just so fast, and its wing attacks hurt tremendously. I need 2 Razor Leaf to finish it off. I mean, here we get a crit, and I feel like if I was slightly higher level, a crit might knock it out, and that would probably minimize the damage I take. And then here we have another crit for return, and I was like, wow, luck is going my way. I might be able to beat Lance. This is where my luck runs out, or at least the good luck runs out. I got plenty of bad luck. So, Synthesis has 5 PP. My idea was stall out the Fire Blast, get higher health, do return, and then finish it off. I used Synthesis 5 times in a row. This Dragonite hit his Fire Blast 5 times in a row. So, I used up all of my good luck earlier, and now I have all the bad luck. I just don't know whether the chances of 5 Fire Blasts all hitting, and then of course I get burned for the last one, and my return just don't do much damage. And at this point I was like, okay, I'm going to grind up some levels for Bulbasaur. So I decided to try again once I hit level 70, and fighting all the Elite 4 got Bulbasaur to level 71. See, it's Rain Dance again. I still don't know why. So anyways, I was able to deal with Gyarados fairly easily. Then we have the Dragonite, who decided to use Thunder Wave. I decided to give it Poison Cure Berry, the same strategy as I used earlier to just deal with paralysis. And that had allowed me to get to Aerodactyl full health. And this time, Razor Leaf got a crit, and it was able to take out the Aerodactyl. I don't know what level I need to outspeed Aerodactyl. It might be quite a bit, I'm not sure. Here we have Charizard, but given how much health I have, I'm able to actually handle that flamethrower again. And now we're back to this. It's like, can I deal with this Dragonite, the one that can't seem to miss his Fire Blast? But this time it went Outrage, and then decided to go Synthesis. Just trying to out-heal it. And once it's confused, it actually hurt itself, which was great, because that gave me the opportunity to heal up a lot more. Once again, we have this Fire Blast. I'm like, are you ever gonna miss a Fire Blast? And the Dragonite said, yep, I'm gonna miss my next one. Which gave me a chance to use Return. And I'm so glad the Dragonite used Safeguard. That's probably the worst choice the AI could have done. But I am absolutely relieved here. So at this point, once again I get paralyzed. Once again I use Hyper Beam. That meant I had 2 chances to finish off Lance. One is that turn, and then one on the turn Dragonite needs to recharge, but thankfully I don't need the extra turn. And yeah, honestly, like even at this level 70, I still needed quite a bit of RNG to beat Fortress, used by Koga, and defeat Karen because of Sand Attack. But yeah, honestly, it does feel like RNG plays a slightly lesser role when I level up. But I do think that if I really want to eliminate all the RNG, I would have to probably be like level 80, 85. At that point, I might be able to reliably get rid of them. But yeah, overall, this felt pretty good. And that's the run for Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur isn't a terrible Pokemon by any means. It has decent defenses and its special attack is solid. Its limited move pool is what held it back, as it lacks even a decent stab poison move. Bulbasaur can beat the champion at level 72 with some luck, and will need to be at a much higher level to reliably do so without as much luck. Now that I'm done with Bulbasaur, I'll move on to Charmander. I'm curious if Charmander's moves will make a difference here. Thank you everyone for watching. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more of this content. Feel free to leave comments including the mistakes I made. I hope to see you again for my next Pokemon video in 2 weeks or so. See ya.